Hey everybody, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of Wolfkeen Talks. Now, today on Wolfkeen Talks, let me explain something. I know I haven't uploaded any videos recently, and I was supposed to upload not Demon Souls boss fights, Demon Souls Let's Play on my YouTube channel last Friday. Well, I explained that my friend Doom the Abyss came to stay over for the weekend, but that's not the reason why I didn't upload it. The reason why I didn't upload it was because during the weekend I got sick. So I caught a cold and I had to stay in bed for the weekend. Well, it didn't start worsening until Monday. On Monday it worsened and I had to stay in bed for a couple of days. So I just now recovered from the sickness. Today's Wednesday, as you could probably tell, which is supposed to be the day I upload these videos. But that's the reason why I didn't upload any videos, and that's why I haven't been keeping up with comments or posting on Facebook because I got sick and I had to stay in bed for a few days. So, I'm sorry in advance for not uploading any videos or letting people know what happened to me. I'll try to be a bit more considerate in the future. But that's why I didn't upload anything, and that's why I wasn't I didn't have communication. I was sick. So, now that I got that off my chest, what is there to talk about? Well, I've been looking at some of the games that have been released recently. Of course, like I've said, we've seen games like Sly 4 and Dead Space 3. A lot of people are saying that Dead Space 3 has changed, but it's not for the worse. It's for, a good sense. Now, I understand, some games need to change if they want to adapt to the situation that they're presented. I mean, seriously, no game can stay the same forever. No matter how hard you try, no game can stay the same and hope to survive in this day and age. Keeping to your guns half the time isn't exactly the best idea, but changing the general idea of your game is not the greatest idea either. Like a prime example of this would be the Sly Cooper series. The Sly Cooper series, as you know, we're in the third game, well, fourth since it just released yesterday, called Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Apparently, the story to Sly Cooper 4 is that pages of the Thievius Raccoonus are for some reason being erased. So you have to go back in time and you'll actually get to play as Sly Cooper's ancestors. And you're supposed to, protect the Cooper lineage. I don't know what's going on because I haven't played the game or seen gameplay for it, but that's kind of like the general premise. So the Sly Cooper gang gets back together for this next adventure. Here's the thing. The Sly Cooper series, for the most part, is about gameplay, great characters, strategy and combat, and of course, stealth, as well as creative puzzles. This game, on the other hand, from what I've seen so far, I have seen some gameplay. I know I said I didn't see any gameplay before, but I have seen some. For what I've seen so far, it seems to deviate away from this in some cases. I'm not saying that Sly Cooper 4 is a bad game, but it seems to deviate away from the main premise of the previous Sly Cooper games. Then you have a game like Dead Space, which it's supposed to be a survival horror, but it deviates away from it and becomes a standard third-person shooter. A lot of people think this is a bad change, but I don't really see the problem with Dead Space becoming a third-person shooter. You really can't stay the same formula forever. Same thing with Resident Evil series. The first three Resident Evil stood to a certain horror backtracking aspect. That works. Then we have Resident Evil 4, which a lot of people, there's mixed consumptions about the game. There's the people that think it's a masterpiece, and there's people that think it's a piece of garbage. Me, I'm in the middle of all this, because I've played Resident Evil 4 to death. It's actually one of my favorite GameCube games. And I can openly admit, it's not a perfect game, but it's actually pretty good for what it presents. For the style of play that it presented, Resident Evil 4 works. It still had horror elements in there. The campiness was kind of cool to be around, and I gotta admit, the combat was very fluent. Unlike previous Resident Evil games where you're just staying static in one location. Okay, you still do that, but at least you could see what you're shooting half the time. But then people try to compare Resident Evil 4 to like Resident Evil 3 or 2. Like, oh, this game's not as good as 3 or 2. You can't do that. Comparing a new style of game to an old style of game is the same as comparing, what's a good analogy? I mean, it's the same as it's the same as comparing Fruit Loops with the knockoff brand. You don't do it. There's no comparison. You could say which one's better till the cows come home, but there really is no comparison. They're different. They're not the same thing. I mean, seriously, same thing with Resident Evil 4, with Resident Evil 3 and 2. They're not the same thing anymore. They're more action-based now. Now, if you was to compare 4 to 5, then I could give you that, or 6 to 5. See, that's what I mean. Like, people try to compare games that don't deserve to be compared against each other. But my main point here is I'm trying to talk about games that need to change in order to survive in this day and age. So let me ask you all a question. Are there any games that you feel that shouldn't have changed or made the change to survive? Like, are there any games that should not have changed and stayed the same, or they made the right choice of changing and they're actually, or made the right choice of changing? Me, I think the best example of this was Max Payne. Max Payne 3 actually didn't change that much. It actually stood true with what it was, and it worked. I could honestly say that Max Payne was ahead of its time, so for it to come back as it was actually welcomed in this day and age. Though it's a hard game, it's a fun game. Another game that I have to be brutally honest about, Assassin's Creed 3. I feel like they changed it up a little bit too much compared to Assassin's Creed 2. It felt like progressively the Assassin's Creed series was changing. We had the first one, which had too many side quests. We had the second one, which had a great mixture of side quests, main story, character, and everything. Then we have Brotherhood, which was a bit boring in many cases because most of the work felt like busy work. And then finally you have Revelations, which I think was I think that game was really boring. I think they tried to change Assassin's Creed too much. If they stuck true to what Assassin's Creed 2 was all about, then maybe they could have survived. I mean, look at Assassin's Creed 3. Yes, there's a group of audiences that praises the game like, oh, this is the best game ever! This is the best... No, it's not. If you want my brutal, honest opinion, Assassin's Creed 3 is a disappointment. I've done that review, so you can check it out. That's what I mean, like, some games don't need to change that much, while others do need to change. I'm gonna look at my library real quick. Yeah, another good game that did need to change a little bit was Resident Evil 6. But the problem with Resident Evil is that it changed too much. You see, you always have to... Oh, sorry, I'm kind of jumbling myself. Moderation is important. You need to make sure you give the right amount in order for you to succeed. Alright, my father's been taken care of by the way of stairs, poison, and a couple of gunshots. So, anyways, let's get back to what I was talking about. Games do need to change at times, and they do need to evolve with the changing day and age. But you can't change that much. Resident Evil 6 is a prime example of games that change too much, if you ask my honest opinion. They changed it too much to the fact that it's not a horror game anymore. It's more of a third-person shooter, the same way of Dead Space. But unlike Dead Space 3, Resident Evil 6 was not very fun, and there's barely any replay value. Dead Space 3 at least added, like, side quests or something like that. Which is why I want to play the game, and I'm not straight, like always. So, that's it. Like, answer my question. Are there any games that you feel like shouldn't change, or that should change, like adapt to the changing day and age? I feel like there are a couple of games that should change, while there are others that shouldn't. But that's just my honest opinion. Now, I think that's all I really need to say, because I am pretty tired. I'm still feeling the side effects of just overcoming a sickness, so I'm still a little tired, but I will be uploading some Demon Souls Let's Play this Friday. I'll probably be recording more, so you'll probably see about 6 parts. I already have 2 recorded. So, until next time, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen, and this has been Wolfkeen Talks. Until next time, catch you later. And you thought I was going to say, oh, well, swear, weren't you?